Hi guys, welcome back to my video. It's the Lifestyle Mom for those of you that don't know or who are stumbling upon my channel based on my title. My channel is basically for parents, people who want, who are becoming parent, anything, anybody. It's for anybody. I talk a lot about being a parent and tips and tricks on basically how to survive life as a parent. If you guys like videos like that or want to see videos of stuff like that, then make sure you subscribe to my channel. Last week I did a Christmas assistance video for 2021. Right now you are able to apply. I just want to explain my relationship that I had with, my kid's dad. Both my kids have the same dad. I was with my kid's dad for 4 years on and off. It was probably the worst thing of my life. I don't want to start crying now. I was just never able to talk to anybody about it or even talk to him about it. He don't care. Backstory, I've been a single parent pretty much the whole fucking time. I should probably make a disclaimer. I don't want to make this video to bash anybody, but this is my life and I want to do my YouTube channel and this is what I want to talk about. So if anybody has a problem with it, then they can address it with me personally. But I just want to say that there may be things in here that you might not want to hear, but I don't care. If you don't want to hear it, then don't watch this video. I went through 5 pregnancies. My oldest is 4. My youngest just turned 1 in August. Back in 2007, 2007, guys, I moved to the town that I live in now, and I went to school, and that's where I knew him from, was in school. I used to be best friends with this girl, and she used to be with him for years and years and years, all throughout my, throughout middle school, some of high school and shit. He moved away eventually because he was getting in trouble and shit. Just was a bad kid. He was a bad boy. We used to hang out every now and then. When we were kids, I'd walk to his house. Me and my brother would walk to his house. His grandma bought him this freaking Charger. He had a Dodge Charger. Brand new, white and everything. And he was 16 at the time. I've known him practically my whole life. Fast forward to 2016, I was working at this Coney Island. I was dating this guy. I really liked him, but I knew that he didn't like me because he pretty much told me he didn't want anything serious with me. I found that he was cheating on me with this girl. He ended up just leaving me for this chick, okay? I'm working at this Coney Island and I'm heartbroken. My baby daddy hits me up and he's like, hey. I'm like, no. No, dude. You're a troublemaker. No. And he's like, just come hang out with me. I can't go anywhere. I live out, he lived an hour away from me. I'm not coming to see you. And so I denied him. I denied going over there and hanging out with him for probably a month. Finally, I gave in. I'm like, you know what? F it. I'm gonna go over there, hang out with him. So I go to his house. And this should have been my first sign, you guys, that this dude was bad juju. I went to his house, okay? And he had his friends over or whatever. They were all drinking and shit. And I am not really a big drinker. So I was just chilling, whatever. I was chilling. My baby daddy is a HOE. So everybody got drunk and shit. And him and his friend started arguing, I guess. And then his girlfriend was oh yeah, that's right. Talking to my baby daddy, you didn't just F me on the couch right next to him, right next to my boyfriend the other day. It got into a huge fight, okay? So they're fighting and we're all outside in the front yard. I have this green Ford Focus and they're beefing it out next to my car and they're like, dude, just my baby daddy's go. Just go, talking to these people, just get the F out of here. My baby daddy's family is nuts. nuts. Is like psychotic. So here comes my mother-in-law, right? And she wasn't my mother-in-law. She never was my mother-in-law. I never married this mother effer, thank God. But she come running out. She started beating up this girl. Finally, they stop fighting. The dude's girlfriend gets in the car. I'm yelling at everybody. I'm like, get away from my car, because I don't want nobody hitting my car. They're like literally inches from my car. My car's like parked right here, and like their car's like right here, you know. They're getting ready to leave, and my dumbass decides like to put, this is my first sign that I should have just left and never came back. My dumbass, thinking like I was gonna stop anything, right, puts my knee in between my car and their car. So I get my knee crushed in the car, and I if I have my picture, I'll put it up right here if you can see it. So I get my knee crushed, literally, okay, between these two cars. And my baby dad grabs me by my back of my hair, like this. He's like, and yanks me. He's like, what the F are you doing? Like, you're effing stupid. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what the heck did I just get myself into? Like, what am I doing here? This is not even my issue. Like, you were obviously messing around with this dude's girlfriend and right in front of each other. Obviously, sometime, I don't know, I should have just left y'all, but my dumb ass decided to stay, okay? You know, whatever. Shit happened that night, and we go home, we shoot the shit, we're hanging out for like a week on end. Maybe a week after we start hanging out, his mom sells that house that they were living in. So she wanted to move up north. So she found a place up north, and she bought it. And she was like, basically like, y'all, like, I'm leaving. I'm fucking leaving. And my baby daddy was on tether, so he couldn't really go anywhere. So we kind of stayed around at some person's house. It was a matter of like probably 3 weeks. That week, I was supposed to start my period. And I knew I was. And so like, I was like waiting for it to happen, and I knew that sometimes I was off a little bit, but I just like, I don't know, I just had this feeling like I kept smelling stuff, and like my boobs were really sore, and I was like, dude, this is not it. And he thought I was just playing that card, because like I've known him for a long time, but we only were messing around for like a few weeks. So he thought I'm pulling this like, I'm trying to get you for the rest of my life type shit. I go and take a pregnancy test, and I was like really afraid to like take it. I was working at the time there up north, and like I was getting ready to go to work, so I got in the shower, and I'm like, you know, okay, I'm gonna do it right now. Right now. Like his mom was crazy, dude. I didn't want to tell his mom at all. And I got in the shower, and I like hid it under a towel, so if anybody was to walk in, like nobody would know. I get out of the shower, and I like undo the towel, and I kid you not, all of the color left my fucking skin. I fucking dropped. I was like, are you serious? I'm fucking pregnant. Are you serious? I still have the pregnancy test. If that's weird, I still have it. So I'm like, oh my God, like what am I gonna do? I just started working, you know. I was working at this restaurant. I'm like, dude, this is not happening. This is not fucking happening. Like, and at the time, like, I didn't even know this dude. Like, we weren't even kind of dating. Like, we didn't even make things official until like the week before. We like were like, oh, like, are we like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now? Because like, is this like kind of what that is? We didn't know. We didn't know like what to do. Like we didn't ask each other out on a date. Nothing happened. We literally were just hanging out with each other for so fucking long that we were just like I like you a lot. Like you like me. I kind of love you. Like, is this kind of a thing? Like, I think we're just kind of together right now, aren't we? And he was just like, yeah. He's like, listen, me and this dude, we want to go. Like, he wants to go to this other lake, half an hour away, right? And he wants to take my car so we can go fishing. I'm like, all right, fine. I mean, I guess. As long as you're back by the time to pick me up from work, I'm fine. So he drops me off at work, takes my car. And that day, like, I'm pregnant 5 weeks, you know, not even. I don't even know. I don't know what happened. I have a mouth on me. I have an attitude. I don't care. I just will say anything and not, you guys, like, I literally have a mouth. Anything that I think, I'm saying out of my mouth. I got into a fight at work with the fucking boss over something stupid, because, like, over busting a table or some shit. Like, I was trying to get through this space, this little ass space, right? And this girl was yelling at me, and I'm trying to get this rag. I'm like, dude, I literally looked at her. I said, I'm getting it right now. And, like, she was like, that's enough. That's enough of your attitude. And, like, so she went and talked to the boss. The boss was like, you're fired. I was like, what the? So it's like 3 hours into the shift, and I call out my baby daddy, and I'm like, yo, you need to come get me, babe. Like, I got fired, like, this shit. And he's like, well, I can't. Like, I'm in this lake right now. Like, that's my imitation, I don't fucking know, of him. So I'm like, all right, fine. Call his mom. His mom's like, no, Like, she's freaking out because I got fired too. And, like, she ended up coming to get me. I'm at home. I'm sitting at home. I'm fighting. I don't know what we were fighting about. We were fighting for something. So we started bickering about back and forth. And she said something about, and my ass is sitting here, like, sticking up for this motherfucker. Like, he's my everything, right? So, he calls me. And he's like, hey, like, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, what? He's like, well, your car broke down. I'm like, my car broke down? Where are you? He's like, well, I'm in Detroit. I'm like, you are where? I said, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What the am I gonna do? Okay, so this is the first, we're 3 weeks into this shit. 3 weeks into dating, all right? And he steals my car and drives it over 100 miles, over 100 miles, probably 200 miles, damn near. 4 hours takes my car away to go, I'm sure you guys know what he's doing in there. Okay. I'm like, all right, like, I'm gonna call my mom. My mom is gonna come get you in my car. Like, mom, I don't know, like, he stole my car, like, freaking out. Like, I'm trying to explain this to my mom. My mom doesn't know a thing. Like, my mom don't know. Like, she knows, okay? But, like, my mom is not the mom. Like, she raised me. Like, I was so good. Like, I didn't do anything. I didn't get in trouble by the cops. Like, I wasn't that good, but, like, I was an angel compared to this shit, okay? So I'm like, listen, like, you gotta go get my car, mom. Please go get my car, mom. Please. I had to freaking beg her. And I was, like, begging her to go get him, too. I'm like, dude, will you please go get him? Mom, like, please, da-da-da. And I was like, she's like, no. Like, and then come to find out, she's like, no, he was with a whole bunch of people, like, da-da-da-da, this and that and the other. I'm like, oh, okay. So finally, my mom goes and gets my car, okay? So while this is happening, me and his mom are fighting, fist fighting, literally fist fighting. And she's like, get the F out of my house, da-da-da. So not only did my mom just drive all the way to Detroit to get my freaking car, but now I'm calling her because I'm like, Mom, I just got my ass whooped. I need you to come get me 2 hours away. So she drove all the way to Detroit from where she lives, which is about an hour, all the way to Detroit. And then she had to come all the way up north to get me. So she rushed her ass all the way up north, pregnant. I'm pregnant, and she's like, oh, nothing's going to happen to my pregnant daughter, like, da-da-da. She's like, coming to get me. So she come and get me all my fucking shit, right? And I go back down to my mom. So it's October, it's Halloween, we're up north. His boss or his neighbor has a Halloween party, right? So we're at this Halloween party. I did my face up. I might have a picture of it. You guys can see. It was kind of cool. First time I ever done my face painting. So I did like a skull and like on this, like right here, my mouth. At this party, we're chilling, we're hanging out, and like we're at home. Like I can't drink, obviously. Like he's having a few beers and shit. And like we're at home and like, I cannot believe, like, I just don't understand why he put me through this shit. God, I cannot right now. When my mom left him, he's like, hey, I'm, like, staying in Whitmore Lake. Well, that's where his ex stayed, and, like, I'm not stupid, you know. So, fast forward to, like, Halloween, right? Like, a month, maybe, a couple weeks. And, like, she messaged me, she's like, hey, like, I just want to let you know, like, me and him, like, you know. And, like, I just want to let you know. I'm sorry, whatever. You were just trying to hurt me. Because I'm sure that he was with you and left you for me. I'm sure that's how it went. I was like, dude, like, what? So I brought it up to him, and he's like, no, like, it didn't happen. Like, he kept denying it. And I don't know what in my heart, like, wanted me to think, like, to believe him. But I was like, dude, like, I'm pregnant with your baby. Like, why would you do something like that? And, like, he just denied it the whole time. The whole fucking time, dude. I denied believing her over him. I don't know. So finally, like, it was like in November. So we've been dating for 4 months, maybe, right? Okay, so I'm like 4 months pregnant. Because I figure, like, I got pregnant with him the first time we did it. Finally, in November, like, I was fed up with his lifestyle. Like, I found out things that he was hiding from me and, like, lying about and, like, doing, like, just shady shit. So I was like, listen, like, I gave him an ultimatum. I was like, you either do this or I'm gone, basically. So, like, he did what I asked him to do. I started planning my baby shower, and I planned my baby shower and stuff. It was just like a big ass freaking shit show, seriously, while I was pregnant, okay? So I'm at the baby shower. I'm with his family. I go and pick up his sister, and, like, we go and, like, you know, do all this stuff. And then after, I went with her and her boyfriend at the time to a movie, and then I took her home. So I took her home. I'm sitting in the driveway, and as I'm sitting in the driveway, like, talking to her, he texts me his, like, you know, my baby daddy, her brother, and was like, listen, like, we need to talk. And I was like, okay, like, what's up? And he was like, listen, like, I found this girl, like, I've been talking to this girl, like, I really like her. When I felt like my whole life was crashing and falling and burning into fucking pieces right in front of me. At that moment, every single dream I had of ever having a family, a happy family, went out the fucking window right there. I fucking knew. I knew I messed up. I knew it. And, like, everybody was telling me this, because, like, I didn't say this, but, like, when we found out that I was pregnant, everybody encouraged me not to go through with the pregnancy. Like, everybody knew I was gonna get hurt, and, like, everybody was looking out for me, and I understand that, but I'm so glad that I didn't do that, because I love Cash to death. I would do anything for him. But, like, when he said that, I was like, what? I am pregnant with your child. we just found out he was a boy. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? A few days after that, I think this was like March when this happened, right? The next day after this whole thing happened, right? And this conversation happened between me and him, I woke up, thought I peed myself, really. And when I looked, it was just blood. And like, obviously, like when you're pregnant, you're like, dude, no, like this is horrible. And I was 29 weeks pregnant, okay? So this was happening, I was just about, like, I was 8 months pregnant and he left me for somebody else. I didn't know what to do, you guys. This is my first child. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what the hell to do. You know, I was living at my mom's, like, I was 22, like, I just was, like, going crazy. So I went nuts. I didn't know. I went in depression. It was bad. It was probably, like, the worst pregnancy of my life. I mean, I have not had a good pregnancy. I begged for him to come back, like, and be a family with me. I would do anything, like, finally I just fucking gave up. Like, I gave up. The day that I had cash, I was getting induced and he knew I was getting induced. He was like, he had a curfew, like, he had like one overnight stay where he could stay in the hospital with me. And I got induced. Everybody was like, no, like, you should have him stay with you, like, just wait a day and have you stay with him the next day. But I was like, no, like, I want him here with me now. Like, I want him to go through it with everything with me. So for the first day, I was going through all my contractions and shit. And, like, he was just, like, basically sitting in the fucking chair. Basically just watching me, not doing a thing. Supposedly, he had to go home. Like, he had to go home. Let me tell you, when I cried my eyes out so hard because I did not want him to go home. I did not want to have this baby without him. Even though, I mean, I really technically was having this baby without him because he was with a whole nother girl, but I don't know, you guys. I like, what am I gonna do? So my best friend at the time, my best friend was there with me, and she was out in the parking lot, she's smoking and shit, and I was like, dude, like, it's time. I texted her, like, and then I called my best friend, I was like, yo, like, come up here, hurry up. My best friend got to hold my hand while I pushed my baby out. She got to be right there. So I thought, that's pretty special. My best friend got to watch me have my baby, and my sisters got stuck in the room. So they got to definitely see my vagina pushing out a baby. They got stuck in that part. My mom was in the room. The best special moment part, like, of that, like, I'm glad that was my first time having a baby was with everybody that I loved and that loved me, because, man, I don't know what I would have done with him there. I had the best care and everything. Like, I would have been so worried about anything but him. Like, I don't know. It's crazy, you guys. Like, it's crazy to think that I'm like crying because of, like, to think of, like, all of the stuff that I put up with, like, that I just didn't leave when I had plenty of opportunities, but I still stuck around to think that everything was gonna be okay, just to have him do what he did. So he never got to meet Cash. Not for, like, a week. For Father's Day that year, he actually came down and spent, like, the week with me and stuff, and, like, oh my God, a bunch of stuff happened then too, right? So he was like, oh, like, I'm this free man. Or, you know, he's not with this girl anymore. He wants to be down here with this kid hanging out for Father's Day. So I was like, all right, we'll hang out with my family and stuff. So him and his buddies, he was like, we're gonna go out, decided to go out for the night. He was at his ex-girlfriend's house, the one that texted me that he cheated on me with. Yeah, he was at her house, right? Doing it with her and his friend that he went with. Like, they were all just doing it together, supposedly, right? Okay, he comes home and gets in bed with me that same day. The same day. The same day. Okay, there was this girl in between the girl that he left me for and like Father's Day, the weekend that he came down. And like she messaged me, she's like, listen, like I got da 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 and like you need to go get tested. And I was like, are you effing kidding me? So like I like was like freaking out. I was like, oh hell no, like you need to tell me what the hell right now you did. So then I found out he was with her. That's when I found out he was with her and the mean that night. And like, yeah. And then I had to like go get like tested for, you know, which was all fine because I never had that ever in my life. Literally. Or I had anything. The next month, right? He comes down for a visit. We're at this bonfire actually, and we're trashed, literally, like. And we go home and shit. And we're getting intimate. I was with my best friend at the time. Him, my sisters, like, you know, everybody. He was drunk, okay? So he was calling me by my best friend's name, right? That they've never, like, never. They've never. This is my friend that they've never, you know. So, like, at first, when he said it, I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what? Like, literally. And so he said it again, and I was like, get the off me. Off me, please, off me, please. What? Do you know what you said? Do you know what you said? I'm like, do you know, like, who I am right now? And he, like, looked at me. And he was like, oh my, like I don't know what, I don't know what he was thinking in his mind, okay? So then that happened, right? So I was like, dude. So I just went out in the living room. Like the person that he called me by is in the living room. So I go out in the living room. I'm like, bro. I'm like, you will never fucking believe what just happened. So then I met this dude. And he like, man, like, oh my God. And if he's watching this, like, he knows. But it was the most messed up relationship I've ever been in. Well, I mean, besides this one. It was abusive. Like mentally. We ended up all going to school together. So we all know each other. Like, me, my baby daddy, and him. We all know each other. So I'm like, and them two actually were, like, brothers when they were growing up, okay? So it's even that, like, now it's like, okay. So now I have to break this news to my baby daddy, like, who my boyfriend is. And I'm like, oh yeah, I got a boyfriend. Like, he's like, oh yeah, really? Like, I'm like, who is it? So I'm like, yeah, it's this guy. And I'm sure, like, he was just like, oh no, like, like, he was like, what, really? Like, this dude? Like, do you even know this guy? Because I do, and you don't trust me. Like, trust me, you don't want it. I'm like, trust you? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna trust you. So that lasted like 4 months, right? Next month, we've been dating for a month now, right? My baby daddy calls me. And you know those phone calls that you get from jail? They're like, you have a call from, like, okay, so I'm getting one of those. I'm like, oh my God, you're joking me right now. He's like, hey, and I'm like, what are you doing in there? And he's like, yeah, so this is like what happened. I'm like, you are an idiot. And he's like, I want to get back with you. Like, you know, playing that whole game, you know. And I, of course, you know, I followed through with it. I had to play the game too. He was in there for like 8 months, right? And I didn't want to be in my relationship with, you know, this dude anymore. So I was like, you know, why don't I just move up north if we're going to be together? And he ended up getting transferred he got arrested. He was in Detroit. Then he went up north. So I was like, well, why don't I just move up there to your mom's house and we can just be together after you get out, right? Everything will be fine. We're just going to be a big happy family. So he's like, yeah, like, do it. So I moved up there for about a month, got back into a fight with his mom, moved back downstate. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for you to get out and then we can just move somewhere. Kai's first birthday, he's calling me from a jail cell. In June, he goes to an inpatient. And I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'm breaking you out. You're about to come with me. Like, you don't need to be in there anymore. Like, you've been in there enough. Like, I need to see you. So just leave. So he's like, all right, come pick me up. I'm like, really? That was that easy? Shit, I could have done that a long time ago. It probably took a freaking week of him being out. He was like, yo, like, do you, like, literally, this is what happened. He's like, do you want to, like, try this shit? And I was like, well, I mean, fuck it. That was like, literally, that was going to be my first time. Like, I was like, all right, fuck. They were on their way to go, you know, I'm sure you guys can fill in the blanks. We were at a hotel. We were at this rundown hotel that we were, like, waiting at, right? And they took my car. Well, there was a cop that was, like, waiting right across the street from this hotel because apparently, this is how much I did not know of the area that I was going in. They run off with my car, you know, and as soon as he pulls out of this car, dude, the fucking cop, whoop! I'm like, oh no. So I run down towards my car because I'm like, well, my car's gonna get impounded. Nobody's taking my car. So I go down there and everybody gets arrested in that car. And like, he had a warrant out for his arrest because he just literally left rehab. Like, I just picked him up. He wasn't supposed to leave. I just grabbed him and he just took off. Like, that day we had planned to get into an apartment. So the next day we were supposed to move into an apartment together. He goes to jail. What it was it's a motel renovated into an apartment. Yeah. And I had like the biggest apartment though. So for the weekend, I moved in this place by myself, right? I drove all the way to Detroit and picked him up. So they let him go. Free. We're up north in this motel apartment thing. I wish I never would have moved here, ever. Seriously, would have never freaking moved here. And I got a job, like, immediately, like, at this really nice barbecue place. I found out I was pregnant. Again. I'm not even kidding. We cannot sit in a freaking room together alone without me getting freaking pregnant. It's just a thing. So I found out I was pregnant. And then a few weeks later, I miscarried because, I mean, I was stressed out. You know, I barely was eating and shit. So after my miscarriage, I was depressed. I was like, this is not happening. Like, I've never went through like this before, but like I had to go to the doctors for them to tell me that you lost a baby pretty much and like you're losing one right now. I was like upset, and so I started using hard drugs at that point. I started using heroin, and I don't know why, because it was bad. It was horrible. It just made me throw up all the fucking time. Literally, I just threw up all the time. But I would fight him for it, tell him like, no, like if you're gonna do it, you're gonna give me some too. Like, it's my money. If I'm gonna give you some, you're gonna. But I was like tricked into getting it, really, because I wanted coke, you know, like. But he wanted that stuff. So, like, he ended up coming back like, oh, this is all we got. Like, oh, okay, well, you're giving that to me. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, I paid for it. So, that's mine. Basically is how that went, okay? I don't know how, I don't want to talk too much, like. But I'm already talking too much. So, whatever. This is my life. So, I miscarried, right? And now I'm using. Great. I found out I'm pregnant again. I'm not even kidding you. It had to have been a month. I found out I was pregnant again. So I didn't let that stop me. I continued to start using more drugs. And that is when I was introduced to, methamphetamines. We ended up losing our house because, I mean, I couldn't keep a job. I was nasty looking, like, I don't even know why. I don't know how anybody could have stayed with me, honestly. Like, I'm glad he left me. But I was a walking nightmare. I looked horrible. I had pick marks all over my face, abscesses all over my face. I was disgusting, bro. And we were hanging out with these people, right? These people is what their names are called. These people. For a while. Using these drugs, okay? Remember these people. I'm like, you know what? Like, we got evicted. Like, we lost our place. I'm moving back down with my mom. You can come with me. Like, my mom didn't not want him to stay with me, but I was like, my mom didn't live there, like, at the place that me and my brothers were staying. So I was like, I could get away with you staying there, you know? So we moved back downstate, and maybe a week into moving down there, we are down in Detroit at a Dollar General in the parking lot, or Dollar Tree, something like that, waiting for drugs, right? So we get what we want. We go to take off, and my dumbass is so worried about everything else but the road that I'm in the parking lot getting ready to go. And I put it in drive and go, vroom. But when I go, vroom, I'm like this. Vroom. Looking over, right, at what he's doing. Not paying attention. So I go, yo, like, give me some, like, boom. Literally, I'm like, what the fuck did I just hit? Look up. And there's this big fucking light fucking pole where I didn't know where the fuck it came from. It just literally landed there. Came out of the sky right there. Big ass light pole. Cement, everything. It had to have just gotten there, guys. I mean, I did not see it there. I'm like, oh my God. So I get out of my car. And I'm like, what? Like, I fucked my shit up. And I was literally going 5 miles an hour. Crashed my stuff. Like, literally that, like, damaged my stuff so bad. My lights hanging out and shit. And, like, I'm like, oh my God. So he's like, okay, back your car up. Clean all this shit up before the cops come. And, like, let's park the car around the corner. So we literally parked it right behind the fence, right behind the store. And we're like, what do we do now? Like, because we could not drive it. Like, it literally damaged my car. So my axle, like, something was messed up where I could not drive, turn, accelerate, anything. I couldn't do any of that. So I'm like, oh my God, like, we're in Detroit. I could not call my mom. I already did that once. Like, I could not fucking call her again, dude. So I'm like, okay, who am I gonna call? I'm gonna call my best friend. My best friend, she knows everything. I'm just gonna call her. I'm like, dude, I'm crying. I'm like, you need to please. And like, her sister, she's from around, like, she knows the area a lot more than I do not know anywhere where I was down there. She knows where she was. Like, she knows where she is. She knows where she's going. She knows everywhere fucking pretty much. She used to work down there. And she's like, I'm like, where? She's like, where are you? I'm like, dude, I don't even know. But I'll send you my location. She's like, I know exactly where you're at. Baby girl, I'm gonna come get you. I'm like, oh my God. So she saves my life. Me and his life, right? So the next day I'm like, yo, like, trying to come up with a story to try to get my brother to come down to come get my car. So I'm like, dude, like, we were going to the casino last night, and I crashed in my car. Like, we stopped at this Dollar General so we can cash out and, like, get some snacks before we went. And I crashed my car in the parking lot, literally. Like, literally, that's what happened. And he knew it was shady the whole time, but he went with me and grabbed it and grabbed my car and drove it back and everything. My brother drove it back on the highway, like, 30 miles an hour from Detroit without a fucking question. I love him. So I'm like, all right, we're done here, okay? I moved back to my mom. He, like, went back to, like, somewhere, like, rehab or something. And he, like, got out and started talking to this girl. And, like, I found out I was pregnant again. Like, I found out I was pregnant again. Like, it was bad, okay? So I found out I was pregnant while he was in an inpatient. We both were just like, what? Like, we cannot have this baby. Like, we cannot have a baby right now. So, like, he got out, and I don't know what he was thinking, but, like, he immediately got out and went to Detroit and was staying in this hotel and, like, telling me some crazy-ass shit. At the time, I was going through a miscarriage. Yep, going through a miscarriage, right? He's messing around in Detroit. in a hotel with some fucking who knows. And he calls me. He's like crying. He's like, I really need you to come get me. Like, I need you. I'm in trouble. Like, I need you to come get me. I'm like, all right, yep, me. Like, whatever. I'm on my way. Mind you, that day I was in so much pain that there was nothing I could do but lay in bed. But when he called me, I was up and at it. I found a ride and everything. I found a ride to go get him all the way, an hour away to go get him in the hood. And I brought him back, dropped him off. Okay, guys, sorry that I'm like this and I popped in like this, but I'm editing the video right now and I'm eating breakfast. So I forgot to add in when I went and grabbed him from the hotel or whatever and I brought him back, I did tell you that I was miscarrying, but what I forgot to add in there was when we were on our way home, we had stopped at Arby's to get like a drink or food and I had to go to the bathroom, you know? And I was in the bathroom, and when I was in the bathroom, I had passed my baby. Like, that's when I miscarried. And that was my worst miscarriage, because I was farther along in my pregnancy. I was about 12, 13 weeks with that pregnancy. And so it was like, you know, it was visible, and it actually came out in the toilet at the Arby's bathroom. So I ended up screaming for him and stuff. And then I ended up taking him home and then like leaving him at the place in Wilmore Lake because of all the hickeys. All right, so back to this. He was like, I want to come stay with you. I was like, nah, dude, like you got hickeys all over you. Nah, you ain't staying with me. You were just staying with this chick. Dude, you're crazy. So I dropped him off at this person's house that he used to live with, and I was like, dude, no, stay here. Like, I'll come pick you up in the freaking morning, and we can talk about this later. But I was like, nah. Like, he was, like, messing around with this shit. So I was like, you know what? F this. I'm talking to this dude. And, of course, he knew this dude, too. And he was like, whoa, like, this dude is bad juju. And this guy, like, he's like, warning me. And this guy was bad juju. And, so I'm, like, dancing, like, you know, like, at this club, right? I went back to the club. I'm dancing. I'm, like, met this dude. I'm like, yo, come meet me at the club. Whatever. Come take me home. I need a ride. He's like, all right, like, because my fucking girl left me. So he went and came pick me up and brought me to his house, or to my house. So we're at my house. My best friend shows up, and they dated for, I don't know, they freaking dated for a while. This is why you don't date people that, you know. So, like, I don't know what was said, but, like, something was said, and they started fighting. I was like, okay, like, I'm out of this shit. Well, like, he's a not good guy. Let's just say, like, he's in prison right now for attempted murder. Not talk to the best dudes. The cops were called, like, they were fighting, and then he started fighting with me, and I was just trying to get out of the situation, so, because, I mean, my kid was in the house, and he was literally going psycho. Like, I thought he was going to kill us. And so I was like, all right, let's go outside. Like, so we went in my car, and he started whooping my butt, dude, like, literally beating me up. And he shattered the windshield of my car. He got my landlord involved. My landlord came down and started to call the cops on me. Thought it was my fault for everything, right? So now I'm to blame for all this shit. So I got kicked out. I was like, bam. I got kicked out. I'm like putting too much out here. But I don't care. I waited about a couple months, and then I don't know why that year, but that year I got a huge tax refund. I got $6,000 back in my taxes. I moved to Flint, bought a trailer in Flint because I was like, I want to move to the city, like somewhere that's like really town, like a big city, because I'm from a small ass town. And I'll be able to find work there. I started a business. I started a cleaning business. And it, like, wasn't going. Now, like, we lived there for 4 months without any of us having a job. I don't know. I paid up a couple months worth of rent when I put my down payment on, and then I was able to pay 1 month of rent, I think, and then we moved. The apartment, we stayed 2 months. Seriously, like, this is my life. I hope you guys are getting this all. So I was like, at this, like, we need to get some money. I needed to start doing something. So I found this club down in Detroit. I started working down there, like, before I was dancing. Like, when I started getting when I got my cleaning business, I started dancing. I never told my baby daddy this. I mean, he probably knows now. I danced one time so I could get some money for rent, and I woke up the next morning and he was smoking our rent. Yeah, all my money that I worked so hard for was gone. Let me tell you, the work that I did for that was not I was not the best club, okay? I just wish I could go back to 4 years and not do half the shit I did. Fast forward to like May and July, right? You know, we're living in Flint. We're going through bad addiction. We're going through cars like crazy because we're selling it, buying it, selling it, trying to just trying to get through life. Okay, I don't even know how we did it. Like, boosting stuff, like, just, dude, anything that we could do. Finally, July, we were evicted. So, after all that happens, we moved up north. And when I say we moved up north, okay, so when we were up north, his mom lives in a 1-bedroom house, okay? Well, his mom also had her daughter there, living there. And we just got kicked out of our house and had nowhere to go to. So she's like, well, fuck, I'm gonna buy you guys a tent and you guys are gonna pitch a tent in my front yard. It was summertime, whatever, like, the baby will stay inside the house with me, and then you guys can sleep outside. You know, daytime, y'all can just chill in here, whatever. So between August and September, this is getting good. So between August and September, we were living in a tent. And I found a job. Mind you, I'm the only one working during this whole relationship. So I find a job, and I'm working my ass off. I'm like, you know, like, we're home, like trying to explain my story to people, you know, like, the people that I work for, like, understand, like, they understand recovery, addiction, all that stuff. So I was like, dude, like, I just want a better life. Like, I just want to do this and get right. And so he's like, all right, well, listen, I actually have a rental, and it's like $475 a month. I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He's like, and you're more than willing to go stay in it, you know. So he rented his trailer out to me. I'm like, where is it? So we're out here, right? I'm like, wow, this next door neighbor looks really familiar. Like, their house looks familiar as hell, right? Like, remember those friends? Okay, so we used to go over to that house all the time. I didn't realize that. So then this, like, girl's coming outside, and I'm like, man, she looks familiar. So then finally we put the 2 and 2 together, like, who we're living next to, right? Right, okay. So we're living next to our friends that we used to get high with. His sister, like, is what we found out. It was his sister that was living there with her kids. So between September and January, we're living in this trailer, right? And I got fired from that place that they rented, their house to me, but they ended up still renting out their house to me. I ended up finding a job at McDonald's. I got a job at McDonald's, starting getting my life together. I was, like, saving up money. I had a Christmas, like, so now I'm starting to get my shit together, right? We're fighting all the time. Like, we were using at that time still too, you know, and then finally he decided, like, I couldn't go to rehab, you guys. I never went, but he had to. He had no choice. So he then again left again. So 23 days, whatever, he's in there, and, like, the neighbor's sister texted me, was like, hey, what's up? I was like, yo, like, come on, like, come over and chill. Like, she's like, oh, I'm, like, sober. I was like, good, that's good. So, like, they all, like, come over, and, like, it was, like, a big thing, because I thought, like, my baby daddy and, like, our friend that we're like, really close together. I thought it was kind of weird. So when she was like, hey, like, what's up? We want to chill. she felt weird to come over to my house, so she brought her sister, the next door neighbor, over. And so we were like shooting the shit, you know. I'm like, yeah, like he's in rehab right now, like da 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 da, like she's like, you know, like the neighbors, like, man, you don't need that shit, like that's some bogus shit, like, dude, like my baby daddy, like, was cheating on me, like da da da. I just found out my baby daddy was cheating on me. We're getting divorced, all this shit, right? December comes rolling around, Christmas comes rolling around. I've been thinking, I'm like, you know, like, we live in a 2-bedroom trailer, like, house. It was a nice property. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed living there. But I was like, no, like, we were fighting all the time. I was coming home, he smelled like liquor. He kept saying that he was, like, next door, like, leaving the kid sleeping to go next door and party with the, like, I was like, nah, dude, like, nah. I was like, this is, like, not happening anymore. You need to get a job, dude. And there's nothing was changing. Like, we were just still fighting and stuff. And, like, he would not change. He wouldn't do anything that I wanted him to do, basically. He wouldn't help. He wouldn't just do anything to help me. So, I was like, you know what? Listen, I had planned this for, like, a month. And then, finally, like, the week before it happened, like, I sat down and was like, listen, this is what I'm doing. I was like, I'm moving away. And he was like, this is like what throws me off. He was like so upset. He was crying, telling me not to go, begging me not to fucking leave him. Like, this is when I was fed up. New Year's Day, we got into a fight. Or New Year's Eve, we got into a fight. I had to work. And I wanted to go out to a hotel after that, like a hotel party after that. And he didn't want to go. So I was like, dude, can I just, like, I'm going. He was like, no, the fuck you're not. So he took off. Literally took off to the next door neighbor's house. He was at the next door neighbor's the whole fucking time, right? Took off the whole night. I had to get a fucking babysitter for our son. I had to go to work. So I'm like, so I ended up, after work, I ended up taking our son to the hotel with me. Still editing this video. So anyway, I wanted to cut through. And New Year's Eve night, when I went to the hotel, I wanted to drink. And I didn't start my period. Like, I was supposed to start my period, and I was late by a month, and I was afraid to take a pregnancy test, so I decided on New Year's Eve night, before I went and grabbed my kid to take him to the hotel, I was going to stop at Walmart, because McDonald's, where I worked, it was right in front of Walmart. So I went back there, and I grabbed a pregnancy test, and I took it in the bathroom, and I found out I was pregnant. So I was pregnant with Carter on New Year's Eve, or New Year's Day. That's when I found out, and that's why I decided to move. Since we had a hotel, it was like a hotel party, but like I ended up getting a hotel room and just, you know, basically freaking staying there with my kid. And the next day, like, I went home and he wasn't there. And like 10 minutes after I got home, like, he like came walking in. I was like, how the hell did you get here? Like, your mom's like 40 miles from my house. There's no way you walked. And he was like, yeah, like, I walked, da da da. I was like, I found it shady as hell. Which, come to find out, he was at the motherfucker. I bet you he was sleeping with the neighbor then. I guarantee you, he was sleeping with the neighbor then. So, I ended up moving. I was so, oh my God, I did not see any of this until now. So, well, until, like, it happened. So, I ended up moving downstate, right? Like, after this, I'm moving downstate. Like, we can still work this out. Like, I still wanted to be with him. I loved him. I found out I was pregnant. Like, I just wanted to make it work. So, I was like, I'm going to go downstate. I'm going to get my life together. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to get my money right. And I'm going to get a place down here where we can do stuff. Because up north, it just ain't it for me. I don't like it up there at all. So, he was like, he was playing me. Literally, he was like, baby this, I love you, like, I want this and that and the other and the other and the other. So, I am literally working my ass off trying. How it happened was I messaged her because he was ignoring me and all this shit, and then I seen her on his Snapchat. I was like, yo, like, are you two, like, what the hell is going on? And he was like, she's like, no, dude, but, like, you need to talk to him because he's, like, hanging out with my sister all the time. I'm like, the next door neighbor? okay. All right. So I move and you go to the next door neighbor now. So he's like, yeah. Okay. So I'm pregnant, you know, again, pregnant again. And I call him. Well, actually, no, how it happened was I was like, yo, like, what's going on? I'm like trying to call him. He's not answering. He's like, yo, like, not answering me at all. At all. Hasn't, for days. Like, literally has not talked to me for fucking days. I was like, yo, give me your sister's number. So she did. She gave me her number. And I called her. And she answered. She's like, hello? I was like, hey, like, hello. It's like, you know, who and who? And she was like, yeah. I was like, so are you effing my baby daddy or what? Hangs up on me immediately. Couldn't even tell me. Could not tell me at all. So I'm like, yeah, there's my answer right there. So then my baby daddy calls me and was like, yo, like, why are you calling? Da 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 da. Like, I'm like, no, she didn't just call you, bro. I'm on voicemail with her right now. I was like, I know you're over there for a fact and you have been effing her. I'm like, just tell me the freaking truth. And then finally he was like, fine. I'm like, this is the truth. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I love you. I'm so sorry. Da da da. I'll leave right now. I'll leave right now. I'm like, all right, then leave right now then. Leave right now then. Guess who still hasn't left? Yup. And get this. It was like March 16th when the world shut down. Okay? So Friday the 13th, Friday, March 13th was the day that I found out all this, found this all out. Found out my baby daddy of 4 years and 2 kids now is cheating on me with the next door neighbor. So I'm like, okay, so dude, I'm devastated. I'm like, how can you do this to me again? Like, I thought this was different. Like, I thought you were going to get your shit together and we were going to be a fucking family. Like, I thought you were going to, like, dude, you can't, you never even gave me a chance. You never even proved you never cared. Yeah. I mean, he was there for Carter's birth and stuff. But, like, the last year and a half, it's just been me, pretty much, fighting with. It's not even a jealous thing. It's like basically like you gave up on us, and now you're taking care of kids that aren't even yours. Like, they got like, you know, she's got her kids, but like, you can't even take care of your own. That's our timeline. I'm, like, supposed to stay quiet about it or something. Like, I'm not supposed to tell everybody's business, but, like, what? Am I not supposed to, like, this is my business. This is my business. I am a single parent. I do this shit by myself every single day. And so the whole reason why I'm even making this video is because I invited them to come down here to spend time with his son. And he did, and basically the whole time he was making about her and her kids and cutting time short for her and her kids. While we were here, right, he's like taking care of these other kids. Like, I'm like, you do this every single day. Like, you can't do this to your own kids. And then he's like, well, I just want my kids to come up north. But he can't accommodate to his kids. He doesn't have his own, they don't have their own beds. Nothing. But I'm supposed to just keep my fucking mouth shut because what? What does that do? I'm sick of it, dude. Nobody understands how I feel. But I'm just supposed to be okay with feeling like this. I'm supposed to just get over it. I had a baby. I made a family with a man that could give 2 fucks about what I do with my life or what even happens to me. I literally gave up 5 years of my life to somebody that could give 2 fucks. Left every time while I was having a baby. Every time. So here I am taking care of your kids by myself while you're taking care of fucking, who knows, somebody else's kids that ain't even yours. This is his choice, all his motherfucking choice, because I don't get it. He doesn't try. It's like, I am the sole provider of my children. Sole provider. I'm just supposed to, like, be okay with his actions and, like, just get over everything. I'm not okay with it. It hurts. It hurts, dude. How does that not fucking hurt somebody? I'm supposed to be having a family with somebody that didn't care about me at all. That is what hurts. It's not the fact that he's not even here, because now I look at him and I'm like, I'm glad you went to the neighbor. I'm glad that she's the one that's got to deal with your bullshit, because I have a life now. I have been so much happier without him in my life. But that's the problem without him in my life. He's not there. He's not there. And I'm done sticking up for somebody who's not there. I'm just done. I'm not. Like, now you want to try to get involved in your kids' lives? What? They needed you a long time ago. They needed you a long time ago, dude. And every time you come around, you always make it not about your kids. It's always about somebody else. But I'm always the bad guy, though. But I'm always doing everything for everybody else. Like, for instance, today we hung out, right? He was supposed to be here at noon. They showed up 3 hours after what they said they were going to show up, and then made this whole ass excuse. Here I am thinking that you guys are going to be here at noon. I woke up super early, got all my kids ready, got everything done and ready to make sure that I accommodated you. But I'm always the bad guy here, guys. I'm always the bad guy. Because guess what? I'm always the one who speaks up and says something about it. Because watch, I'm going to get lashed out for this video. But do you think I care? No. No. I take care of these kids every day. You never even took care of a kid. Until now, and they're not even yours. So, it hurts. My son hurt, and like even asked me like, how come I can't go up there with my dad? Honey, because when your dad moved in with her, they don't have a big enough bed for you. I don't know, like, what am I supposed to say? They don't have enough room. They don't even have a big enough car for you two. And it's always about one and not the other. The baby's always getting left out. Why? I shouldn't have to feel like the baby's getting left out. The baby shouldn't have to feel like he's getting left out. That's not right. I'm just ready to like give up on like trying to like make anything of it when it's only me trying. Only me. And I know like she don't care. She don't care if he sees as a kid. More for her. That's the fucked up part. We hung out together. We did not have a problem. That, like, we didn't have an issue. Everything was fine. But like, it's the fact that like, why would you ever be intimate with somebody that you like with somebody that you left? Like with somebody that you were cheating on me with in front of me to make me, why would you want to make me feel uncomfortable? Why would you want to make me feel uncomfortable? That's what he likes to do that. So here I am just being fucking uncomfortable. Like, I don't give a shit, dude. I'm done fucking. I am done hiding my feelings for people. This is my rant for you guys. Like, this is why I have been a single parent for 4 years. That's my side of the story, I guess. I guess everybody has a different side. He just thinks that I am just doing this because I am upset that he left me or something. When in all reality, yes, I am upset that you left me the way you did. Because it would have happened regardless, like, we were not good together. We could have worked good together, but you never even fucking tried. That's what pisses me off. That's what pisses me off. You never even tried. But you want to go try with somebody else that doesn't even have your kids. And then you wanted to have another kid. And now you want to leave me stuck with them. I mean, I'm not saying I'm, like, stuck with them, but, like, because I really love my kids. They're not a burden. I love them to death. And I live for them. But, like, it takes two to tango. Like, I thought we were going to be doing, like, this together for the rest of our lives. If I would have known this shit, like, bruh, come on, man. If I'd have known you were going to leave me for the next door neighbor. So, that's my story on what the frick happened with that. It hurts. I still think about the shit every single day. Because that shit changed my life. That whole situation changed my life. It did. I mean, in all reality, I technically lost the love of my life right there. And I knew that there was no trying after that. He doesn't ever want to try unless I fucking push him to. But I'm supposed to give him a break. Where's mine? Because I don't ever get one. Ever. I really hope you guys like this video because I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for it. But if you do, please like this. I'm surprised I didn't cry as much as I did. Because, like, but that's, like, goes to show I have no fucking feelings. It disgusted me. Fucking feeling, touching each other's. Nah, dude, you're doing that in front of, like, people. There's people around you. Like, be courteous. You're an adult. That shit doesn't fly. Like, I don't know, dude. Don't be doing that to show off, because it's just making you look stupid. You used to mean something to me. Now you just piss me off. Literally. You ruined my life. Never cared. So if you guys like this shit, like it, share it, subscribe to it. But, bye.